my liquid white, and I had mentioned my extension with mineral oil, drying times, and my holding back of my drying times or accelerating my drying times with liquid. And as I combine those two mediums and I formulate my thickness and my drying times, those are the only two mediums you need in order to form the thickness and drying times. And those are very important to knife painting. And it sticks. And what I've done here is I've taken a roll of red, like this. I've taken a roll of red, go down. This is how I demonstrate how to load. So I take my red and I smooth it down. I clean my knife and I go to the back of the knife. I have a little tiny bead right there, little tiny one on the back, so that I can use it as a stripe. Now that top stripe I just did, and I rolled the edge of that knife, and that's kind of a skill that you build up. So I have a liquid white foundation. I've rubbed some blue on there that was in the last segment, and I've pushed it up. I've pushed it up with a big palette knife, and I've pushed it up. And I can make noise too. And the dogs start barking next door sometimes. Now, what I can do with this back pressure again, and I can line that little stripe up, and I can bring that red right up into the sky with pressure. Blend because everything's wet back there, and this is wet on wet, and this is why it's so much fun. And this is why I like oil painting, because it's wet on wet. And when you dump a bunch of mineral oil on this stuff, you can play all day, and then you can wipe it off. You can practice. And you don't have to buy a bunch of canvas either. That's another reason why I like painting on mirrors. I don't like it. And even when they're dried, you just stick a bunch of that green stuff on it, and it'll turn into goo, and you just get it right off. But they're so inexpensive anyway that I don't do that too much. If it's a nice mirror, I do. But as you can see, this is how you load. Now, when I want to take another line of color, let's say I want some more blue down in there, I'll take my blue and I run it down. You see that? I run it down. And you can get so much precision on these knives that it far outweighs any kind of a detail that you can get on with a brush. And I can roll that out. And then I can line it down. Let's say I want to bottom this cloud structure out. And I want a lot of blue down there. So I run that blue down there. Now this is a sketching technique. Rolling that implement, I rolled that paint. As I moved along, I rolled it. So I have kinetics and pressure and velocity, and I have this contact. And now I can pressure it and move it up. Now I can take a big one and blend it all up, move it all up. And I get all those colors blending together. And I put a nice bottom, it's called, on this cloud structure. And it pops off with suction, with the back pressure. and you have a bottom to your cloth, nice and soft. Or it actually could be a snowstorm in the woods or something back there. Very, very nice technique. A lot of fun. And because I'm dealing with mineral oil, I'm not screwing my hands up and all that. This stuff is innocuous. They use it as a, what do you call it? Laxative. And like I say, if you want to get it dried up, you put some liquid in it, and you figure out where it is. Now let's say that's kind of a shoreline right there, it could be, and that's just moving that stylus back. That's it. Everything stays where it is, and that's another thing I like about knife painting. One of the things I like about knife painting is that that paint either is on the knife or it's on the canvas until I wipe it off. There's no absorption properties in a stylus like this. Now there's different feels. I can feel differently when I'm working with a stick that maybe I fashioned the end with, and maybe I want to etch out something like that with a stick, and I can etch because I'm a sketcher, and so I can sketch with this too and make noise. Okay? So that's how I use my sticks sometimes too. But the knives, and what's really cool is the paint's either here or there. None of it goes into any kind of absorption until I wipe it clean. It goes from one implement to the next. There'll always be some around with this kind of technique. And I can even get another implement and start working with that. Or work my horizon shoreline and do all sorts of business with it. And have it moving one way or another. It's a sketching technique. And just move that paint around. Maybe I want to scale it out. Maybe I want the trees larger in the foreground here. I can just move it around. I don't like it. Now, it changes again. And that's because the paint doesn't go anywhere. If you ever saw the movie Fantasia, Mickey Mouse, he's down there and he's mopping up the floor. And then eventually, long story short, you know, with Tchaikovsky, you know, in the building of the concerto or whatever that is. Eventually, he uses a stylus. Good move, Mickey. Now, I love those moppy brushes. There's great techniques that I'm going to go into them. And I've discovered how to preserve them without really maintaining a lot of this. This mineral oil, again, this stuff is great. And I'll go into a lot of that. It's wonderful because you don't have to really, you know, move them that much. You can put them in mineral oil and they'll preserve, and you squeegee them out a week later and they're just as supple as they were the day you put them away. But I like these styluses. And this is what this course is about, in loading. Next segment, we're going to really talk about loading. There was a woman I watched on TV. This lady was a genius, and she just put leaves all over the wall in 10 seconds because she knew how to load her brush. There's a lot to this. You get a lot more done with a lot less. Sounds like Zen. Particle wave. E = equals MC, square it off, loading, delivering.